simply means the use of symbols, signs, graphs, symbols in information dissemination. Communication simply deals with the exchange of thought forms, like I said, opinions and ideas that are related to certain issues among different people. It could be verbal, it could be non-verbal, it could be written, it could be oral. In some areas, especially when you sit with elders, if they don't want you to hear what they are saying, they can use signs and symbols to communicate, and the message is passed and understood. So in African context, symbols are very important in terms of communication. They are very key, in as much as the users understand the meaning and the interpretative meaning, the deeper meaning of what they are doing, and have been able to divide this into different subgroups or headings. Number one, we have the human unit. The human unit looks at the different levels in which communication can be made, considering the number of persons involved. If you have 10 persons, 10 to 20 persons, you can communicate with them easily because they are seated in around you. But if you have a class of, let's say, 1,000 students and there's nothing to boost your communication, you can use signs and symbols just to make the class easier. Then we have the number two, has to do with symbols itself. This involves communication using spoken or written, in brackets, verbal symbols, pictures, gestures, graphs, signal or actions, and also non-verbal. Use signal. Maybe if you want to tell them that you are done, you can wave. If you want to tell them thank you for a job well done, you can wave your hand and say thank you, and they'll understand. Maybe if you want to tell them well done, you give them a sign, well done, and all that. So use these signs to talk. If you watch some of our national events, where some broadcasts are made, you see some people seated behind the communicator, and as the man talks, they are involved in what we call body languages. For those who can't read and write, for those who are invalid, you see them, they interpret using signs and symbols. Then we also have the sensory organs. In this aspect, our sense organs are very key. The sense organs give us clearer pictures of how humans can communicate effectively, e.g., the winking of the eyes. If I want to talk to you, I don't want the next person to hear, I can use my eyes to talk to you. Just wink my eyes. It means I love you. That's good. You understand? You can see my eyes moving. You can even use your fingers. It means well done. Now, if in a class of 1,000 students and the class is becoming boring, they can even use their foot. They shuffle their foot. They won't tell you to go, but with their foot, you know that your students are tired, and you need to do what? You move. Some will even yawn. Oh, you understand? It means they are tired. They won't tell you, sir, please leave. The lecture is becoming boring. Some will even begin to sleep. Some will even begin to, shake their body, stretch their body and begin to do all funny things just to let you know that the class is becoming boring, instead of, saying something. And by the time, if you are a man who understands, you will do what? You will gradually summarize your topic and let them leave. The fourth group, we have what we call facilitators and openness. This one gives humans the ability to communicate openly in any environment they find themselves, with the view to achieving their aim. And what is very key in this aspect is the sender and the receiver. What you are giving them and what they are receiving, are they in tandem with what you are doing? In every communication, what is very key is the information you are given. The moment you give somebody a sign and the person understands, the person can also give that same sign to another person, before you know it, it has gone round, it has gone viral. Most information we get today are not spoken out. Some are done through signs and symbols. If you go to some areas, for instance, if you go to hotels, you go to the conveniences, you don't see any man standing there to tell you this one is for male or female, but you see pictures. You see a masculine picture, you see a feminine picture. When you look at such pictures, you know that here is for women, here is for the men. Then we have the zebra crossing. There are areas where you have churches and schools. You don't have people standing there to tell you, okay, stop, or with their red flag, they will flag you down. But when you see the zebra crossing, or with the sign, you know that there's a school here and there's a church here. The same thing applies to sacred areas. They will draw cigarette and then put a sign, don't smoke. Nobody tells you don't smoke. Once you go there, you see the cigarette with the smoke, and then there is a sign across. It means no smoking. In some areas, they will tell you, silence, don't talk. Some people will tell you, even on their doorpost to the office, they will tell you, no face mask, no. Nobody will be able to tell you, okay, go back. Once you see it, you know, you go back and get your nose mask. Now that we are in this era of COVID-19 pandemic and all that. So these are so there are two major forms of human communication. Like I told us, we have the verbal and the non-verbal, the written and the non-written. For the non-verbal, it is a communication that is done without speech or word of mouth. It involves some parts of the body, and that is well defined by the persons using them. For instance, if you are a member of any cult group, they hardly talk. But when they meet their members outside, they talk with them, through handshake. They use handshake. The pattern of handshake. Some will even come and use their they will tap their foot, hit them together. Some use their waist. You come, I come. If you are not a member of this group, you won't understand what they are doing. You will assume they are acting drama, but they have communicated the message that has been passed. Some have designed, materials. Once they meet with their materials, you know that the people there, these are members of a group. Maybe either a cult group or a Christian group or whatever group you call them. They may not even tell you. You may not even see any written documents kept in front of their, where they are kept, but with their body system and what they are wearing. Somebody doesn't need to tell you that this very group, you don't need to go there because the signs, the graphs, the symbols are very clear. So we'll stop here for now, pending when we look at some other issues that involve symbolic communication.